Firstly, I would like to start off by apologizing to any of the Lewis Hamilton fans that I managed to offend for talking about his scalp in the last episode. I posted the clip. Out of context on Instagram, and of course had a lot of people replying back absolutely howling at it, because you just can't, when you know my content, you cannot take my content seriously. I'm sorry, you cannot. I even preference by saying love you, Lou. Do you know what I mean? But I'm just stating that. Anyway, anyone that was offended, I'm sorry, you know. But do you know what is jarring? Is the people that then use that as an excuse to try and come for me. Listen, one thing about me that I'm gonna inform you about right now is that you cannot tell me it's something that I don't already know myself. First of all, they were trying to go for my chins. I mean, yes, when I'm talking, you will see a lot of chin action. Because guess what? I'm not chinless, but nor do I have a wham neck. Welcome to In the DMs Trending, where I go through the funny, bizarre, and unhinged trending topics that we see on social media. Welcome back. I'm George's second episode of Trending In, and we have some topics to go through. This week was, it's been a very eventful week. We obviously had Bad Bunny. He was performing at the Super Bowl halftime. The results initially came in and said that he took the title as the most viewed Super Bowl performance of all time, beating Kendrick Lamar. But then I just had a look at the news today, and it's not. They've come out basically saying that the Super Bowl views went up to 137.8 million after the Super Bowl, so the second half of the game. So they're calculating it as an average of 128.2 million viewers watched during the halftime, which I'm just like, tomato. Come on, just let him have it. Let him have it. I tried to predict at the end of last year that he would take home the title as the most viewed Super Bowl halftime. And for just that little moment in time, I thought I could take that. But it is what it is. What can we say? Jake Paul. During these moments, I've seen people that have been sacked from jobs for openly being questionable, racist. I've seen Jake Paul, who resides in Puerto Rico, that is having... Anyway, let me get into it. This guy put up on X, purposefully tuning off the halftime show. Let's rally together and show big corporations that they can't just do whatever they want without consequences. Turn off this halftime. A fake American citizen performing. I can't support that. Anyway, his brother Logan actually ended up clapping back at him, saying, yeah, I don't, love you, bro, but this ain't it. And obviously, since then, I'll put up on here, he has then tried to backtrack, backpedaling. Now, not only does this guy live in Puerto Rico, so I'm just confused as to how we even got here. Secondly, get him out, kick him out, because what kind of, you think you can stay there? And this is what you're saying? And also, this, it just goes to show everything that was saying at the back end of last year about how tick some people's IQ is, the geography and history, and them not even understanding that Puerto Rico is an American territory. Yes, I'm that person that says it the way that it's pronounced, Barcelona, Puerto Rico, I can't with the ignorance. And for that reason, I'm just you don't even deserve to be living on that island when these are the views that you have. Obviously, he's backtracked since then. A lot of people were getting down his neck. The fact that your brother's even tapping in to say, yo, we're not doing this, just goes to show. And I also salute, I don't really tap into them too. I have seen a few things that have been quite like problematic and whatever, but one thing that I will always respect is when, you know, siblings, friends or whatever can call each other out and say, yo, like, let's not do that, you know? You've also had Chris Brown that was gobbing off on social media, kicking up a storm. What is it that the guy said? We need him. The Super Bowl need him. There is no denying the guy is extremely talented. Dancer, performer, he's got some great songs, etc. However, he just does not do himself any favors when he comes up on social media acting brazy like that. Like, let's allow Bad Bunny to have the moment that he has. He is one of the biggest artists in the world for a reason. One of the most streamed artists in the world for a reason. Let's not do that. I saw somebody who put up on Threads, Jake Paul living in Puerto Rico whilst boycotting Bad Bunny as peak colonizer. No comment. But if the shoe fits, the shoe fits. Anyway, everybody needs to rally together and get him TFO. But then at the same time, I'm just like, do you need to stoop to his level to show strength and power? But sometimes also being petty is key. I'm screaming, kidding. Anybody else? This start of the year, I feel like everybody was ill, got a little bit better. And now I've woken up with I'm bunged up. I'm so over it. I don't know whether it's been raining every single day in the UK since the 1st of Jan. That is hideous. What happened to this, like, the government being able to control the weather? Because I need them to turn it up a couple of dials, because I'm wanting a bit of vitamin D. I'm wanting a little bit of sun stroking my skin, you know? Crop tops and flip-flops, having a little stroll in the streets without having to wear 10 layers of hoodie and a coat. Like, that's the vibe that I'm on. Not whatever it is that we've been given. This is treacherous. Get me out of here. I saw this pop up, and it was that public weights at the gym contain 362 times more bacteria than a toilet seat. And yet I still see people making content licking weights. And then you wonder why you've got E. coli and Sam and Ella. And it's because you've been necking off with the weights for a bit of content on your social media accounts. That's why. But it doesn't surprise me though, because the things that people do, like the stuff you see people do in the gym, and you don't know what their cleanliness is like at home. They could be digging out their arse crack, and then all of a sudden they're bench pressing 32 each side. And little did we know, James has been doing this before he's gone to the gym and not washed his hands, you know? Let alone people, I mean, when we were speaking about weights, but there's some girls that don't even wear underwear when they go to the gym. And so you're doing all of this when you've not even got a brief on. I then start to question what your hygiene is like. Do you know what I mean? You know where I'm going with this? Like, I feel like we need to have some hand san on us at all times when we go to the gym, because that information was information that I didn't need to be made privy to. But now you also have to question, when we get ill, obviously stuff goes around, but the gym goers that get ill, is it because of the gym and people's spreading of the bacteria, you know? Wash your hands 20 seconds in that sort of motion, and we wouldn't be getting any of this. I think we'll be fine, you know? But yeah, do you know what? One thing that was good about the C word was that it made gyms a very clean place to be. People were coming down rubbing, cleaning the equipment. They had the hand sand. They had the wipes. Do you know what? Dubai is great for that stuff. Very, very, very clean gyms. But the gyms here, some of them you go to, it looks like it hasn't seen a mop and brush since the renovation in 1996. The Olympics is on. I can't say that I particularly watch any of the sports. I'm going to keep this brief. If you was to be entering into the Olympics, what do you reckon you would fall under? I wish they had a category for like cussing matches, but like not like rude, like not, there's levels to it, right? Like not like outrageous, like that's why I fucked your bitch, your wet motherfucker, the intro to that song. Not that type of vibe. But I just want to see an American and a Brit go head to head cussing, because sorry to let us Brits down, but the vernacular of some Americans is something that I've never witnessed before in my life. Never. The things that they come up with, like you buck-toothed looking ass, looking like an owl just stole your tongue. Like, do you know what I mean? They think of the most like obscure things, and you're just sat there thinking, like, how does your brain work that fast and that quick? I would love to see Americans and Brits go head to head in a cussing match, and shortly followed by Nigerians, because again, aunties, I don't know how they come up with the vernacular is just something you just can't put it into words. We just don't have that type of vernacular over here. I'm sorry to say it. Someone prove me wrong. I want to see it. I want to see it. But not to, do you know what I mean? Not to cause like insane offense, but just as a little test, like whose vernacular is, yeah, anyway, don't watch the Olympics, but it looks good when I see it come up on the TikTok. I like to see the behind the scenes when they show like the Olympic Village and stuff. I love to see stuff that you don't usually get to in real life, the BTS. Are you somebody that, no, that sounded like a freaking ad, didn't it? Like, are you somebody that suffers from plaque? Are you somebody that likes solo traveling? Because I don't understand the discourse about solo traveling. There are so many perks. If you are codependent on people and individuals to have a good time, to structure, maybe you might suffer from anxiety, and I understand it. However, I think that there are so many perks that come from solo traveling. So much so that when you start to solo travel, you then think twice about going on group trips. Because there's just something so beautiful about it, especially if you're somebody who really loves like culture, languages, music, food, etc. Because for me, I love the fact that I've been able to travel to so many different places around the world solo, and I can now say that I've got friends in these particular places. Shout out to my friends in Colombia, shout out to my friends in Puerto Rico, Panama. Like, it's such a beautiful thing. And it does make you wonder, would I have still been able to build those friendships if I was on a group trip, or if I was away with a couple of mates or whatever? Or if you was away with your partner? Like, do you get what I mean? And then as well, on top of that, if you're learning a language like I am with Spanish, it forces you to not be lazy, which you can quite end up being if you are with like groups and stuff. So I've never understood the discourse. I'm really encouraging of people going on solo trips. It's such a good self-discovery, pushing yourself out in the deep end, and you just dance to the beat of your own drum. Like, if I want to wake up and have chicken, rice and beans with a bit of plantain at 10 o'clock in the morning, do it. If you feel like bed rotting until 5 p.m., you can do it and not have to worry about, hiking Kilimanjaro do you get what I mean? It's just, you can whatever. And it's not to say that you can't when you're in groups or with your partner, but there is that less pressure on you being able to just do you, because you don't want to start having those arguments that you can get if you're in group trips and stuff. All of that is by the by. You're just enjoying. It is great. My ideal setup is maybe a girls' trip or two a year, a solo trip a year or two, and a vacation. Girls' trip, solo trip, vacation. Los tres. Them three are the markings of a fantastic year of vacationing. But if you haven't done a solo trip, I'd do it. Start off small. If you live in Europe, maybe start off with somewhere in Europe, go for a long weekend. If you're in the States, maybe go to a different state, or go to the Caribbean because it's so close to you for a couple of days, a long weekend. Jobs are good, and trust me when I say it, you're going to love it. You're going to end up learning how to love your own company. And I feel that is so important in today's day and age, where we can be so codependent on, other people, validation, whether they're happy or not, or being able to dance to the beat of your own drum and be independent it's key. It is key. Talking about traveling, I also saw this, which I don't know whether you're going to agree to it or not, but London was actually ranked as one of the best food destinations in the world for 2026. London came up as number 1. If you're going to argue, you're going to have to argue with yourself. I'll tell you who was in the top 10, yeah, and see if it's anywhere that you actually thought of. So number 1 is London. Where do you think number 2 is? It's Dubai. Then you've got Rome, Hong Kong, Paris, Mallorca, Doha, Crete, Bangkok, and Marrakesh. That is the top 10. I'll list the rest of them so you can see the whole list. But listen, you can't knock it. There are some solid places in London that you can eat. But I think, like with anything, and I think I might have said this on a show before, you need to research. You can't just crop up in Iceland and go to the corner shop and think that you're going to have a gourmet Michelin star meal. No, you have to research where to go. What do your taste buds fancy? Get on TikTok, get on YouTube, explore Instagram. There's so much that is available at the tip of our fingers. Chat, use AI. Type in, the most viral TikTok places right now in London, in Paris, you'll be able to find stuff. And when I specifically go to certain places that have come up recommended, or my friends have said, go here, then 9 times out of 10, it's going to be good. So I'm not surprised. Can't believe New York's not there though. It's number 14. Mallorca's 6th. Dubai doesn't surprise me. They've got some banging restaurants there. It's quite, I've only been a handful of times, but I would say that it's quite hard to have a bad meal in Dubai. I think it all just goes down to finding where specifically to go to. You head to West Green Road and the Turkish shops down there, it's going to be difficult for you to have a bad meal. And sometimes getting outside of central London as well, where all the good food spots are, especially the cultural food. Go and get you some Colombian food. Head to South London, head to Brixton, eat your heart out. You'll be able to find everything. So do you know what? I'm not mad at that. I'm going to be in support of London. But what do you think? Who do you think deserves to be in the top 5? Do you agree that London has got one of the best culinary foodie experiences out of the world? It's interesting, isn't it? A quick little summary of Love Island. Scott has come. It's so mad, isn't it? How last week I was droning on about Scott being hey, he's making me be a Scott supporter. And now 1 week later, I'm just what is going on here? He has been so vocal about the way that people move in that villa, and core blimey geezer mate, hasn't he done a 360 with how he's been behaving surrounding Leanne? If you wanted the girl enough, you need to read between the lines and just go for your girl. Not be going into the secret hideout or whatever it's called, the garden, and having those kind of conversations with Belle. Belle, I don't know. I'm not too best pleased with how she's been acting. I can't even lie to you. I just thought she was a bit more of a girl's girl. Obviously, she had loads of vim for Lucinda and kind of made her life a bit of a misery. And listen, quite rightly so. You can call out, they're seeing a lot more than what we are. So if you feel the need to call somebody out on their behavior, you go, Glenn Close, like you go and do that. Do you know what I mean? However, you can't have all of that vim and then be doing this to Leanne. And I don't know. I just don't resonate with like how vulgar she speaks sometimes. I know we can all have a potty mouth, but sometimes the stuff she says, I'm like, Belly. Talking about eye fucking. No, we know. I think there's an elegant way about doing it. And I just feel like, are Scott and Belle, have they just got like heaps of sexual chemistry? And it would just be a situation where they banged and then that was it, because of the way that they're talking. Yeah, it's been very interesting. It's been a very interesting week. I'm trying to think if there's anything more. Yeah, Whitney. Whitney. I love me some Whitney. But with these little conversations, these sideline conversations that she has, that kind of just feel very throw under the bus type vibe. Like when she's speaking to Scott and saying like, oh, I think Belle would be more suited, or whatever it was that she was saying. It's like, but then I guess you say that, but then why did Leanne go and kiss Yemen? So it's just, but then I also remember a little bit earlier on in the episodes, she had that same conversation with Scott. But then I just think, when you're basically telling Scott that you think that Belle's better suited, are you also having this conversation with Leanne? That's what I'm trying to work out and calculate, because those are the elements that I don't really agree with. I think you can be impartial. And I really love the way that Whitney's held herself in like conversations where there's been like, conflict with the girls. And I feel like she does come across very well and like a girl's girl. But it's in those moments that I'm just a bit like, oh man, do you know what I mean? But with that being said, I don't know. This season has been insane for this whole what is a girl's girl thing, because everybody is at it. They're like, what is it? Dogs on heat? It's crazy. The way that they go teeth to people, their man. Wow. Chat boats. All I will say is these people, they can't be allowing their mouth to run and have all this vim if they ain't going to back up themselves in their actions when it comes to situations that they're in. That's all I'm going to say. Anyway, thanks for watching. This has been In the DMs Trending Topics. If you have any trending topics that you feel like you would like me to cover, then please feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on the episode as well. Drop it into the boxes. Follow me on social media. I need to learn how to do that hype thing as well. Yeah, I do.